From Super Bowl opening night to the daily press conferences that have followed, Philadelphia Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts' public appearances have turned into a week-long Ask Me Anything session, perhaps because of the number and variety of media outlets represented in New Orleans for the NFL championship game, or because there's only so many questions that can be asked about the Kansas City Chiefs' defense. Among the inquiries for Hurts this week have included those seeking his advice for youngsters who might be striving to reach their goals as Hurts has pursued his. "One thing I would say is to stay encouraged," Hurts said. "Stay encouraged and be yourself. That's always another one. You've got so many eyes and there's so many comparisons. I think our younger generation deals with the pressure of social media and all that means and trying to compare themselves. But everybody's their own breed of one and everybody's special in their own way. I think people need to embrace that." At 26 years old, Hurts is preparing for his second start in the Super Bowl. The Eagles will take on Kansas City in Super Bowl LIX at 5:30 p.m. CST Sunday at Caesars Superdome in New Orleans. "Opinions are one thing and purpose is another," Hurts said. "I think it's to that person to find what that purpose is. I think purpose is something that's within you. You have to have a vision for yourself and what you want to accomplish and the things you want to achieve, and a lot of that's based off your mission, what motivates you and your priorities. I know I've invested a lot of time into this game and this craft, and I know this is what I'm called to do in this season of my life, and I just want to do it to the best of my ability." Eagles coach Nick Sirianni said adversity had shaped Hurts, such as when the quarterback lost his starting spot at Alabama in 2018 after leading the Crimson Tide to back-to-back appearances in the CFP National Championship game. "We all have these moments in our life where we have adversity," Sirianni said on Tuesday. "Again, adversity is not going to hide from. It's coming after everybody. No one's hiding from it. And it's about how you respond. It's about how you react. It's about embracing that adversity, knowing that when you do that, it can help make you better." So look at Jalen. He's such a winner. He's won everywhere he's went. And now he's starting in his second Super Bowl. So I think the writing's on the wall that Jalen embraced every piece of adversity that he's hit, and it's made him better. Again, you can ask him about all that. But I just see a guy that does that, obviously knowing his story. And then I see a guy that does that in the midst of each game. And you have to be able to do that at the quarterback position. You have to be able to do that at every position in the game of football. And so just admire the heck out of him, how he embraced that adversity because, again, it shaped him to who he is. Hurts said he had tried to grow from every experience. "It's been a journey," Hurts said. "I always say there is no arrival in this journey. All you have is the journey. You just have to take it a day at a time. For me, it's been a lot of experiences, a lot of lessons, a lot of transformation and being able to grow from things and learn from things. And that's just what I've always valued myself on, being able to learn from the good and the bad. Take them all in as the same and continue to improve." Jalen Hurts may have the biggest game of the year coming up at the Super Bowl 2025, but the Philadelphia Eagles quarterback is also dreaming a few years ahead to a possible Olympic debut in flag football at LA 28. "I don't know if there's anything official, if we'd be able to participate, but I know it'd be a great honor to be able to represent and have the opportunity to have a gold medal," Hurts said at a press conference ahead of his team's weekend Super Bowl clash against the Kansas City Chiefs. "A lot of other sports have that opportunity. I think it'd be great for us to have that same chance as well." This is not the first time Hurts, who is an LA 28 flag football ambassador, has expressed his interest in playing on USA's flag football team at the home Olympic Games. The 26-year-old featured in an ad campaign for LA 28 in August 2024, in which he lights the torch of the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum by throwing a flaming football into the bowl. The Coliseum is one of the venues that will be used during the next summer games. Earlier that summer, Hurts attended the Eagles Girls Flag Football League Championships to support women's flag football. "It was an honor to be a part of this and witness this special event," Hurts said. "There has to be some respect put on the work that it takes to prepare to play any type of game. Just to see how dialed in and focused they were, how excited they were to play the game, that meant a lot. I was a fan out there and I loved every moment of it." In 2022, Hurts was featured on NFL Slime Time, a weekly American football show for kids, in an episode where he helped to mentor young flag football players from the school district of Philadelphia. Will the Philadelphia Eagles find a way to keep breakout star Zack Baun in free agency this offseason? Free agency will kick off in March, and Baun clearly will be a hot name to watch out for. Baun signed a one-year deal with the Eagles, and clearly is going to get much more than that this offseason. He blossomed into a star with Philadelphia in 2024. Baun arguably was the best linebacker in football this year and earned his first Pro Bowl nod, was named to the first-team All-Pro, and is a finalist for the NFL Defensive Player of the Year award. Baun should cash in this offseason, but will it be with Philadelphia? Pro Football Focus's Mason Cameron made a list of the top linebackers heading to free agency with top landing spots. For Baun, he listed the Washington Commanders as the top destination for him. Potential landing spots. Washington Commanders, Cameron said. The Eagles linebacker produced the highest graded season of his career in 2024, 90.2, and garnered a nomination for the AP's Defensive Player of the Year award. However, with just 1 year of elite production, teams may take a more measured approach when offering Baun. Armed with a sizable war chest to attack free agency with, Washington profiles as a team that will be actively adding to this defense in the offseason and may be less risk-averse. With veteran Bobby Wagner slated to re-enter free agency, the Commanders may target another veteran if they're unable to retain him, one they're acutely familiar with in Baun. Washington has the third most cap space in football, per over the cap. The Commanders currently have just over $78 million in cap space and over $68 million in effective cap space. Philadelphia isn't in the same place as Washington cap-wise. While this is the case, hopefully, Baun wants to come back to town in 2025. The Philadelphia Eagles practiced for 2 hours in New Orleans on Wednesday, with 4 players participating on a limited basis. Defensive tackle Jalen Carter, illness. Running back Kenneth Gainwell, concussion, knee. Wide receiver Devonta Smith, hamstring, and defensive end Brandon Graham, elbow. Speaking to the media, Eagles head coach Nick Sirianni said several times that the main theme was to focus and refocus. "It's not a normal week," he said. "You want to keep it as normal as possible, but the times are different. The obligations are different. The game's not normal either, so just focus and refocus. It's a good prep for the game." As with the Chiefs, the practice structure was similar to a normal Wednesday during the regular season. "For a lot of guys, this isn't their first time here, which I think is really important," said Sirianni. "I feel like our guys are locked into what they need to do and are enjoying some time together." He added, "It's just constantly coming back to controlling what you can control, which is what we've talked about all year, staying focused on your job." If you live in the Philadelphia or Kansas City metro areas, congratulations. The fact that your city made it to the Super Bowl translates to about $200 extra in your pocket. That's right. Whether the Philadelphia Eagles or the Kansas City Chiefs win the big game on February 9, both cities have scored an economic victory. Research shows that making the playoffs alone is enough to boost personal incomes in the region. And if your team wins, you and your city will get an even bigger boost. This windfall isn't coming from increased merchandise sales, as you might expect. Instead, the key driver is happiness. A successful season lifts fans' moods, which leads, indirectly, to greater spending and productivity. I'm a macroeconomist with an interest in sports economics, and my colleague Christian End of Xavier University is a psychologist who specializes in fan behavior. Together, we published 2 studies combining our areas of expertise. A winning proposition, the economic impact of successful NFL franchises, and team success, productivity, and economic impact. In a study using data from the late 20th century and early 21st century, we found that when a team goes from 0 to 11 wins, the typical number needed to make the playoffs, its home region sees an average per-person income rise by about $200 over the year, adjusted for inflation. We also found that winning the Super Bowl was associated with a $33 bonus, again adjusted for inflation. When you multiply $200 by the 6 million people who live in the Philadelphia metropolitan area and the 2 million in the Kansas City region, it comes out to a whole lot of money overall. If you've ever been to a Super Bowl parade, you might assume that the income boost is linked to people spending more on team-related merchandise. But research shows that professional sports teams usually have a small impact on local incomes. Even hosting the Super Bowl doesn't seem to do that much. Our research shows that people are better off economically if their local team wins the Super Bowl than if their local area hosts one. So if people aren't spending more directly on the team, something else must be going on. Our work pointed to two possible explanations, both having to do with happiness. First, we hypothesized that happier people tend to spend more. And when people spend more, that money is returned to the population through wages, so people's incomes rise. The key here is that people are spending more on everything, not just things associated with the sports teams. Since the football season usually finishes in December, it could be that happy parents who are fans of the local NFL team are spending more on Christmas gifts for their kids. With the Super Bowl stretching later into the winter, loved ones might get nicer flower bouquets and more chocolate for Valentine's Day when the local team wins the Super Bowl. The other possible path is through increased productivity. Psychology research has found that happier people are more productive. So as the season progresses and the home team keeps winning, it stands to reason that people in the area will go into work happy and work harder. Previous research backs up this idea. For example, a 2011 study found that when the home team in Washington performs better, federal regulators are more productive. In places where private businesses dominate the local economy, which is to say, most of the rest of the U.S., an increase in productivity would lead companies to be more profitable, which could lead to locals having higher earnings. Even non-fans see benefits when their neighbors are happier, spending more and working harder. No matter how the Super Bowl turns out, both the Philadelphia and Kansas City metropolitan areas have already won, as both fans and non-fans in each region stand to benefit from higher incomes.